Welcome to Reporter's Notebook, where we talk to the Washington Examiner's top journalists about the stories breaking on their beats. I'm Jim Antle. I'm joined today by energy and environment reporter Breanne Deppisch. Breanne, there's a game of chicken going on. There's a big turbine dispute. Talk us through a little bit what the story is here.
Yes, so a lot is at stake, sort of this international game of chicken that we've reported on. Basically, it all centers on this turbine that Nord Stream 1, that is the pipeline that connects Russia to Germany, supplies most of its natural gas, and actually to Germany and then the rest of the European Union as well. Now Gazprom, which is the Russian state-owned gas company, was always planning to shut down the pipeline for this annual 10-day period of maintenance. But now they said that they need this turbine back, which is being repaired in Montreal, and which was kind of stuck there because of sanctions. So it actually forced the US, Germany, a lot of Western countries to ramp up pressure on Montreal to lift the sanctions, allowing the turbine to go back to Russia so they could essentially repair the pipeline and reopen operations. But that was actually challenged by Ukraine, who, accused Canada of not being loyal in the war, and really a lot of competing interests at stake here.
And so obviously Russian energy capacity for Europe is a really big issue, and the West has been trying to prevent the Russians from maximizing their revenue from oil sales, and they're trying to disincentivize further Russian aggression in that way. But there are a lot of allies of the United States that are dependent on Russia as a source of affordable energy. So what are some of the ideas? You've been talking to an economist about an idea that people have, a policy idea for maybe how to deal with this issue.
Yes, this is actually called the Russian oil price cap. I guess that's kind of in layman's terms. That was the proposal that we saw G7 leaders agree to late last month at the end of their summit. When it was originally proposed, it was seen as kind of this pie-in-the-sky idea. The economists I spoke to at the time, were hesitant to really think that it was maybe going to have legs. They cautioned that it was a very first-of-its-kind abstract thing. But in recent days, we've actually seen a lot of momentum for this on a more practical level. Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen is actually on her first trip as secretary to the Indo-Pacific, where she's lobbying for the measure. She met with her Japanese counterpart, and they actually agreed on a price point for the oil cap, which is of critical importance because setting the cap too low can just completely disincentivize production. Setting it too high would, of course, not have the intended effect of hurting Russia.
And so the Biden administration has been criticized by some for oil sales to China. And, there have been Republicans in particular have argued that this is not an America first position. But you've talked to some experts. They have a different point of view. What are they telling you?
Yeah, so this was something that we've seen, I think, circulate a lot, especially on social media. And it's a really good example of things just gaining a ton of traction, really taking on a story of their own without actually being rooted in fact. In fact, this was something that was dismissed by a former chief energy official from the Bush administration as a complete nothing burger, because actually, by law, the Department of Energy has to award its energy contracts and SPR sales to the highest bidder.
Strategic Petroleum Reserve?
Yes, sorry, that's the Strategic Petroleum Reserve sales. So actually, the fact that China was on the list, which was actually published in April, so it's not really new information. I think that rubbed a lot of people the wrong way because, as they rightfully noted, we are in an energy crisis. Prices at home are astronomically high. But in fact, that doesn't change the fact that we will continue to ship SPR supplies around the world, and other shipments, I think quite larger shipments, went to the Netherlands and other places in the world. So, yeah, not much we can really do there. But it wasn't really a political overture by the Biden administration.
So, inflation is obviously a very big issue. The most recent inflation numbers were very discouraging, running at a 4-decade high. President Biden, though, says that there is some positive news. There's some light at the end of the tunnel. We don't want to mix metaphors here, but he spoke positively of a trend in gas prices and thinks that that might at some point relieve inflationary pressures. What are we seeing in terms of prices at the pump?
Well, we have seen a little bit of a decrease. Whether that can be maintained, I think, is to be determined. Yeah, I think there were some encouraging developments on that front. But as the Consumer Price Index noted, that was the report released earlier by the Bureau of Labor Statistics. We've actually seen more than 40% increase in energy prices compared to the same point last June.
Right.
That's pretty staggering. There are a lot of contributing factors to that, and there's also things like the global energy market, and of course this Russian oil problem, things like that have a lot of impact on markets. So I think it's a little bit early for the Biden administration to kind of come out and make that assessment. I would say that is something that is a bit of a political calculus on their end. So yeah, I think only time will tell whether that plays itself out.
So it remains to be seen in terms of a solution to high gas prices, whether the Biden administration is running on empty.
Yes, yes.
Thank you, Breanne.
So. Thank you.
You can read Breanne and subscribe to our Daily on Energy newsletter at washingtonexaminer.com.